Okay, so today's session, body weight training, more of an emphasis on mobility. If you decide that you want to make it a little bit more conditioning oriented, you can pick up the pace on the Hindu squats and the Hindu push-ups, and you can do multiple sets. So if you want, you could just stop the video at that point when we finish up the Hindu push-up, cycle through for as many rounds as you want, but remember, I gotta stress this, I'll keep stressing it over and over again the whole time that we're doing this, just don't overtrain. So if you feel like you could do 5 sets, do 4 sets. Always leave a little bit in reserve, okay? There again, the emphasis on this is mobility, but there is a strengthening aspect. You may find that you're really tight, that this is the most difficult and challenging workouts, okay? So there again, this is something I would do alternate to the other one. And if you find you're pushing towards the strength side, if you do the first workout of the week, I would do this one like so: day 1, first workout; day 2, rest, mobility; day 3, this workout; day 4, rest, mobility; day 5, workout 1. So you can also do that. You can work these in, or you can just do the one set and treat this, the one set of the Hindu squats and push-ups. That's what we got for real strength training, and then focus on the mobility aspect. So this is more of a mobility emphasis, but there again, you could totally call this strength training depending upon where you're at, right? So we're going to start with our feet together, and we're going to do our osteoarticular warm-up, circling through the knees, switching directions. Now standing tall, flexion and extension. And we'll switch. Abduction, adduction. And switch. Knee up, hip height, internal, external rotation. Other leg. You know, something that sometimes people ask me too is about like repetitions. You can always do more of all these. I mean, these are all very gentle exercises. And if we're maxing out, right, for sure, if we're at the highest percentage of our capacity of work, yeah, the reps really do matter, right? The volume. But when we're doing stuff like this, like say you do 5 to one side, 4 to the other, if you're doing this on a regular basis, it doesn't really matter. The body's not really like that. But if you're constantly doing a bunch more on one side than the other, I think that's bad, right? So common sense will kind of tell you that. You should just try to do the same amount on each side. But when you're doing this, if you lose count, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. What we want is just for the body to feel warmed up and ready to go. And we go this way. Now, our 6-point shoulder, right? Knees out, legs out wide, knee to elbow, elbow to knee. I just pull the toes toward the knee as I do this too. And you want to go with that out breath. Now we're going to turn our toes in, tuck our tail, reach. And if I tuck my tail, that fixes my pelvis. So my ribs will move, right? My pelvis stays. It's also I turn my toes in and tuck the tail. Now our gravity squat. And if you're not sure about how to do this, I did a video on this. Make sure you watch it about the neutral spine position. It covers it. So tail tucked, head back, chin in, chest up, hands out. Now here, tail tucked, neutral spine, head back, chin in, chest up. When you interlace your fingers, if in order to get your palms to face upward, you gotta arch your back, then make your angle here. Keep the spine neutral, right? So if you can, pump those arms upward, a totally neutral spine. Tail tucked, head back, nice straight spine, the neutral spine position as we do this. Keep it going for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, you might need to get an assist with this, okay? Grabbing a hold of a doorway, something solid, something flimsy like just a regular chair, you'll pull it over, right? It won't really help. So it's got to be something solid if you need it. If you don't, you could also put a lift underneath your heel, but the goal is just to squat deep, right? If you can, you should be able to take your armpits off of your knees, but you can relax in here once you get down there. And the objective here is just maintaining that deep squat. It wouldn't be an exciting workout, but it would be pretty good if I just made you do this up and down for an hour, sitting here, then coming up. So we're going to do this for a few minutes though, okay? And you'll find, a lot of people find when they first start doing deep squatting, they can't even hold the deep squat at all. But over time, your body starts to acclimate. Just don't beat yourself up. Don't, like all things, don't rush to get to like a 10-minute squat or a 20 or 30-minute squat. In time, if you keep doing this, you should be able to squat for a prolonged period of time in this position, but we just gradually work our way into it, right? When you really start putting a lot of stress on the joints, that's when you start getting like weird pains and aches and you can't train. So we don't want to make it where it's tedious, we just want to make progress. Now watch what I do here, right? I can just stand up, but I want now to let my hips raise, right? My hands, whether they're on the floor or whatever, it's all fine, but I do want my legs to be straight. So if you straighten your legs and you're here, right, that's fine. If you can put your hands on the floor, that's fine. But what I want to try to do is let my head hang heavy, let my body, so hands on the floor is good. What's great is if you put your head like down in between your legs. But this should all be effortless. I just feel a slight stretch in my hamstrings. Now watch what I do. I roll to that standing position. I like the idea of reaching up to the sky, right? I'll show you here from the side now, same thing that I just did, so you get a different view, right? That's the roll down. That's the roll up, okay? So I'll do it from the side to the squat. So we go back down to our deep squat again, right? So deep squat, try to just hang out down there, and there again. If you find the hips can handle it, but just the ankle, putting a lift, if you notice, watch how straight my spine gets when I lift my heels up, right? As my knees go forward, right? It allows me to get nice and deep. That's one of the tricks to Olympic lifting. The shoe's got a wedge in it, right? So if you lift the heel, deep squatting becomes easier. A lot of people are scared of that because of their knees. And I'm not going to say deep squatting's for everybody immediately, but if you go around the globe and you see people who don't use furniture, they can deep squat pretty much effortlessly unless that's some type of like orthopedic injury, some major accident. So this capacity is kind of built into us. We lose it as we start using shoes with a lift in the heel, but the thing that really kills the squats, chairs, right? We stop getting down in this range of motion. This is also the little gross, but the natural position for defecating as well, right? So now as I come up, and as I come, my squat stance, my toes turn out. As I come up, I put them neutral, and look how I straighten my legs, and I just hang. And I roll up, kind of one vertebra at several times when my head stacks above. I lift, and then I squat. I'll turn back facing the camera this time. Right? Squatting down. This will be our last set of this. And I think this is why there's a lot of, hopefully you find a lot of value in what I'm doing, but I think having guidance, working out just with a video, right? Just having some type of format. It's easy to like say, oh, I'm gonna deep squat and then never do it. But just having this like, okay, here I am doing this. There's a lot of benefit in it. And then what you'll start to find is you start to feel good doing it. You may find you start sneaking in, 60 seconds, 90 seconds of squatting here or there. Those little snacks of movement, right? That's a great word for it, just like a snack. Instead of snacking on cookies and carbs and whatever, getting movement snacks. It can also give you kind of the same reward that you get, that dopamine that you get when you eat something sweet, just moving your body. And then it has the dual benefit of, developing fitness, burn a few calories, helps keep your body more toned. I'm not all about being super productive all the time, but I would much rather get a movement snack than a, empty calorie snack. And roll up. Head pops up. Gonna reach those arms. Now, it's kind of developing in with this, right? So I'm gonna show it to you. And there again, at this point with these two exercises, you could stop, do a couple sets if you want to take this workout and try to make it more of a strenuous workout. We're gonna do one set. I'm gonna move kind of slow, rhythmically. I'll show you at both angles. So the Hindu squat, right? I go down. As I go down, my heels come off the ground. So I'm in a toe squat position. As I come up, my heels touch down, my elbows come back. With some rhythm, it's like this. Show you from the side. Notice how my heels come up and then they plant. If you have knee pain, there again, you can put that towel underneath the feet, just have them stay in that position. There again, always a good rule where there's pain around a joint, not necessarily eliminate the movement, cut the range of motion. Maybe you kind of pop your heels up still. I know it looks super simple, but that's the idea. Go to where you don't feel pain. You can widen out your feet a little bit, keep your heels on the ground, but see how my torso collapses over when I do that? There again, if this exercise just isn't working for you, right, you could do hands on the wall like this. There's all kinds of ways, and that's kind of what we're always doing. I think range of motion, right? Really big factor. And the stance, balance, stability, right? And nothing wrong with, I always tell people, if you can do this one without pain and the other thing causes pain, always back to the gravity squat. Always back to the gravity squat. If you can do gravity squat without pain and the other form of squat or lunge causes pain, that way at least you're getting something, right? So we got the Hindu squat, then we got the Hindu push-up, which is essentially down dog, up dog, right? Hands shoulder width, feet shoulder width. I push the hips back and up. This gives me a nice hamstring stretch, calf stretch. I go in at the angle, my hips drop, chest and head up, head drops, hips up. Okay, and one more time here. So there again, for me, I'm treating this as more of a mobility training, right? And this is kind of a cool thing. You can usually interchange a lot of workouts just by changing the tempo, right? The range of motion, the amount of rest. But I'm going to emphasize a full range of motion on both of these, going slower repetitions. But if you want to get a workout, try to cram more repetitions in. I suggest at least in the first one, though, you go slow, get a feel for the motion. If you're going to turn it into a workout, that's where you pause it. You do your own thing, do as many rounds as you want, as many reps as you want. A good rep cap would probably be 200 Hindu squats, 100 Hindu push-ups. That would probably make your arms and legs sore. For me, it's going to be one set, right? So let's get started with the Hindu squat and begin. You know, and a lot of times I'll talk as we're doing this, and then I'll actually stop exercising and keep talking while you're exercising. But just because you don't hear my audible breath, and it's not really straining to communicate this, but I would always be. The more you connect to the breath, the more energy you get, right? The more your body performs better. The breath's really important. And most of it should be natural, and you should learn how to really use your diaphragm just like you would, you know, using any other muscle of the body. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we'll come down. And a little note with that Hindu push-up, right? When you come down, if you don't have the strength, you can keep your legs and knees on the ground if you're developing the strength, right? Or say you fatigue and you want to keep going, you can do that. But for me, fatigue won't be an issue. I'm going to go slow, rhythmically, emphasizing the stretch, okay? So in position, and here we go. I'm going to squeeze my butt on the way up, and then I push through my hands towards my heels, pushing my hips up. Two more. And then we'll hold a long stretch here. All right. Now, again, you want to turn into a workout, you stop, do as many sets, reps as you want, come back, join when you're ready. Here now, what we want to do is we take a bent leg posture, we point our fingers back, right? This is a back bridge development exercise, really good for the thoracic spine. Just respect the range of motion, don't force anything, but we'll work one side and then the other side in an alternating manner. So look what I do is I bridge up, I reach, I hold, I come down, touch my butt, lift up, reaching diagonally, hold, come down. Notice how I kind of kick those hips out and forward. One more. All right. So now my feet are together here, okay? We're gonna, you might get a little bit of abdominal spasm, that means you probably went too far, right? But what we're gonna do is a couple different stretches from here. Now when we go back into the plow position, it's really important the weight stays on your shoulder blades, not on your head and your neck. If you feel like you're compressing your neck, you feel a pull in your neck, abandon ship, right? Go back, take your time developing the mobility. Remember, never hurt yourself exercising, and if you can't do it slow and controlled, just do what you can do slow and controlled. Don't force range of motion. That's really important, all right? You shouldn't ever hurt yourself exercising, and that's how you avoid it, by moving slow, map the territory. Always later, don't be in a rush. This program, we got 12 weeks, and just take your time. Do what you can do, and if you can do, there's tons of you out there, I'm sure can do everything I'm doing better than I can too. That's great. So just find what works for you and work in that range. So with our feet together, first thing we're going to do is pull our toes towards us. If you can grab a hold of the toes, the balls of the feet, that's great. The emphasis here is a little bit more of a flat spine, and that stretch from the calves is like I'm trying to take my chest forward, not my head, okay? So it's like I'm trying to lead with my chest. And there's something I always say in yoga, move with the breath. It's excellent advice. When you breathe in, maybe come a little bit out. When you breathe out, you go deeper in. It also brings mindfulness into the training, which is really important. One more breath cycle. Now, let those feet point forward. And now we start working the head towards the shins, right? The chest towards the thighs. Now we come up and we roll down and back. As our head touches, we bring our legs up. There again, no pressure on the neck here. All right? If you can keep your legs straight, great. If you can interlace your fingers, great. And we hold. Maybe you're kind of like this, without the pressure on your neck. Fine. Right? Maybe you work on straightening the legs, also fine. Maybe you can't interlace your fingers, but you're trying to get your hands to the ground. Then you walk them together and go back into it. And then you come out. Right? And come up. Now we're going to do an Eldoa posture, right? Eldoa is from the legendary French osteopath. It's a very complicated system. For this course, we're going to keep it to some very basic ones to make sure you get some benefit from it. It's what I do with all my clients, so it's important you learn it. It's that neutral spine. Just remember, without the neutral spine, you're wasting your time, right? So create the neutral spine. Don't worry about how high you go. Some of you create the neutral spine, your knees might creep up on you. Some of you might have your feet out here. That's fine, right? I've been doing this for a long time. I'm in a neutral spine, head back, chin in. So like if someone came and put a stick on my back, you'd see everything but the curve of my neck on that stick. Fingers touching, elbows wide, head back, chin in. Knees are pushing down. Fingertips are pushing up, but they're not in front of my body. My middle finger is directly over the crown of my head. neutral spine. Keep pushing. Head back, chin in, chest up, no arch in the back. Tail tucked, knees pushing down, fingertips pushing up. Keep all that going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, keeping the spine, and relax. So, there again, my emphasis would be the first workout this week. You can do that 3 or 4 times. On the alternate days, do this. If you want to switch it up a little bit, you like a little bit of variety, like I said, you can do multiple sets of the Hindu squat and push up at a faster pace. But my suggestion is like, you pay for the course, follow my advice. If you want to implement like some of your own strength training before these workouts, it's fine, but just don't overdo strength training. Proper strength training, for it to work, you have to give your body some time to recover too. And that's all based upon the intensity. We'll talk more about that later in some lessons that I do. But it's easy to overtrain, I gotta emphasize that. So having these mobility sessions where it is a little bit of strength training, there was like some moves that they make your body struggle a little bit, but it's relatively low intensity. And that's the real trick, is volume and intensity. And when you find the right balance, right, that's where you get the best results. But it's very easy to do both overtraining and undertraining. Finding optimal training, I always think it's good to start low and then add a little bit. And so by the end of the 12 weeks, you will hopefully enhance your work capacity. More importantly, you'll know what you're actually capable of doing. You'll know how to get close to it, then back off, close to it, then back off. And that's where you make the most progress.